Greetings, I hope you're good and well. I'm doing a four-part series about the differences between men and women. As a reader, I like to learn about the universe and the world and life in general. I read a lot of non-fiction, and at the moment I'm reading about four different books on the topic of men and women and how they differ from each other in a sexual way. And the first book that I've just finished reading is called Why Men Want Sex and Women Need Love. This book was published in the early 2000s. I wouldn't describe it as academic, but it certainly references academia. It references certain research that scientists have done about the using fMRI scans on men's brains and women's brains and surveys and stuff like that. So it's quite full of useful information and scientific information. Now, the main thing I'm learning here so far with this like differences between men and women is like we've basically been born with different desires. Men and women think differently and we want different things. Men are very visual. When men choose a woman, it's basically based on what she looks like. On a subconscious level, this is due to the fact that we're attracted to health, fertility and youth for evolutionary reasons. Women, on the other hand, are attracted to power, status, commitment, and the key word here is resources. Women are wired to want resources. One single man who can provide for her and give her resources in the form of shelter, clothing, children, and security in general. And that's a big difference. It's like an overarching theme of this stuff that I've learnt so far. There's like a huge conflict of interests between men and women. Men are more visual because we need to assess baby bearing potential. Most men like to see a slim waist and then larger round hips. We're attracted to round hips because on a subconscious level we know that woman will be good at bearing children. Okay, whereas women assess characteristics because they need a provider. Women are less visual. Women tend to assess a man's personality more, and this all ties into the whole evolutionary thing because a woman needs a provider. It's no good for a woman if a man looks good but you can't provide. Okay, so it makes sense. Women are also wired for commitment due to infant care. Millions of years ago, if you're a woman living in a cave, that baby needed to be looked after. If you had a baby and the man ran away, the baby would suffer and you would suffer. So women want a provider, somebody who can care for the baby. However, men, are wired for spreading genes. We're actually averse to commitment. Again, this makes evolutionary sense. From a man's perspective, the ultimate goal is to spread the DNA as far and wide as possible. Spread the genes as far and wide as possible. That way, you can have the maximum amount of babies and pass on your genes as widely as possible. But for a woman, it's different, isn't it? For a woman, yeah, okay, evolutionary. You want to have as many babies as possible, but those babies need to be cared for, and it takes 9 months to have one baby. So it wouldn't make sense for a woman to go around sleeping with loads of men every day trying to get pregnant, because she can only get pregnant once every 9 months. So again, it's this conflict of interests, this kind of dichotomy between men and women. Um, a good way to sum it up here is that women want resources, as in money, shelter, clothing, but men want services in the form of sex and maybe cooking. So that's the main overarching theme here. The big divide between men and women is that in a sexual way we want totally different things. Thank you for making it to the halfway point of this video. This is a quick message to let you know that I have a range of horror and science fiction books available, and most of them are completely free. If you enjoy my work, you can support me without spending any money at all by simply leaving a review for one of my free books on Amazon, Goodreads, or any of the retailers' websites. You'll be helping me to grow as an author and a book reviewer. The links for my books are below, and your help is much appreciated. Now, back to the video. Let's look at the topic of casual sex here. Again, for men and women, it's totally different. Men can separate love from sex. Men can have sex with somebody if they don't love them and there's no love involved at all. That's no problem for the average man. But for a woman, it's more difficult. For a woman, sex and love are intertwined. So although there are women who have casual sex, it's done for different reasons. For men, a desire for casual sex stems from an evolutionary urge to spread the genes as far and wide as possible. And it also stems from a natural urge to have variety. Men seem to want variety more than women. Most men's dream is to have like a different woman every week, to have sex with many different women. And I think people should sympathise with this a bit more because it is wired into us. You know, it's about gene spreading. So men have no problem with this, having sex with no feelings or love or emotions involved with it. Now, women do have casual sex, it's explained in this book, but it's done for different reasons. One reason might be the woman might be feeling low self-esteem. She might be a bit down, so she might desire some casual sex to kind of give her a sense of self-worth. Or it might be for gains. She might see that the man has money or something to give her, some kind of financial gain. So she'll give the man casual sex, knowing that she might gain something from it at a later date. Another reason for casual sex for a woman is it might be a test for the man to see what he would be like for a long-term relationship, a kind of try before you buy kind of thing or strategy. Or it might be a test to see what his genes are like. She might want to see what his body is like, you know. So it's like a try before you buy thing for women. So the ultimate thing for women is long-term commitment, you know. So they might have casual sex, but usually it's to kind of test the man beforehand before committing for a long-term relationship. Right, men and women have different chemicals flowing through us. Men tend to have more testosterone. Testosterone is linked to a high sex drive and aggression. That's why men are more boisterous and more aggressive. And that's why men tend to have a higher sex drive as well. I suppose this is debatable. So you hear some people say that women often want it more than men, but I think it's fair to say that men, you know, due to testosterone flowing through us, we tend to want it quite a lot, or if not more. Women, on the other hand, have a chemical called oxytocin flowing through them. Women have more oxytocin, and this chemical is linked to love and cuddles, which is no surprise. Women like cuddles and love, whereas men like sex, no string sex. Men go out and fight, and they want no string sex. That's due to testosterone. Women are less violent. They're more into love and they're more into cuddles, and that's due to oxytocin. An interesting fact I learnt in this book, or a fact that I was reminded of. I remember seeing this on a documentary, but if somebody has lots of testosterone, if they were for some reason exposed to more testosterone in the womb, they tend to have a longer ring finger. The ring finger is long, and that's an indicator of high testosterone. A lot of alpha males have a long ring finger. But if you have more estrogen, which is another chemical that's more prevalent in women, if you got more estrogen flowing through your body, your index finger tends to be longer. Of course, this is the ring finger here. If you have a lot of testosterone, your ring finger will be quite long. If you have a lot of estrogen, your index finger will be long. Lesbians tend to have a longer ring finger. Lesbians tend to have more testosterone, which might explain why they're a bit more manly. Whereas gay men tend to have a longer, longer what? Longer ring finger? No, sorry. Gay men tend to have a longer index finger because they might have more estrogen. Okay, so basically, the main stuff I learnt from this book is the huge difference between men and women. We want different things. Men want more casual stuff. Women want long-term commitment, and due to this conflict of interest, so much frustration is present in the world. It's the cause of so much stress and so much dissatisfaction. So it's a dark topic for me, the difference between men and women. I wouldn't say it's a very pleasant topic. I mean, call me a pessimist, but I tend to view the universe and life as quite a negative thing anyway. But a lot of this is confirmation for me that it's another hardship of life, isn't it? Another hardship of life. We're wired differently. Men are born with this urge that often doesn't get fulfilled. I think women have the best deal here because most countries or most societies and most cultures are geared towards marriage and commitment. So in a way, women usually get what they want. Women want long-term commitment and they get it. Men tend to want to be able to sleep around endlessly, but most men don't get that. Only a very select few actually manage to pull that off. So, right, why men want sex and women need love. It's a good book. Do I recommend it? Yes, I do. It's not overly academic, but it's full of useful facts, and it's fairly well written. There are a few typos in there and stuff, but it's fairly well written. Okay, so yeah, it's worth a read. On Goodreads, I gave the book. I think I only gave it 3 stars actually because it's good but not great. Okay, so I gave it 3 stars. Read it if you're really into this topic. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another book review, possibly part 2 of this men versus women series. Or not versus, men and women series, or the differences between us. So Keep an eye out for that. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.